Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Logan Landers, and joining me to talk about this NFL game preview between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Denver Broncos is my co-host for the Unscripted Sports Podcast, the man with the best beard in all of sports broadcasting. It's Jay McLovin. What's going on, Jay?
Hey, I am doing well and ready to talk some Trevor Lawrence.
Talking Trevor Lawrence, we talking the Jaguars, we talking the Broncos. It's going to be a good matchup, I think. I'm ready to dive into it, man. So before we get started, though, be sure if you like this video to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We go live each and every week on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Also, please go listen to our podcast. We upload every single day, whether it's game previews, list how we did with the team previews before the season even started, amazing draft profiles, legends interviews with guys who've won Super Bowls, NCAA championships. Also, we have amazing history specials as well, old games, amazing players. Go over there and subscribe for more great football content because we have a ton of it for you. And with football season in full gear now, you're going to want to make sure you are locked into us here because we are putting out a bunch of content. So thank you so much for all the love and support. All right, Jay. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about these Jaguars. Last week did not go as planned. What can they do to get back on track and make this one a tough one for the Broncos?
Yeah, let's talk about that. They had kind of the same similar situation as to what the Falcons that we just talked about earlier had. Their O-line is a little rough.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously Trevor Lawrence has to find his rhythm. You know, if we go back to a few things about Daniel Kelly was saying, we talked about on a different show. We mentioned, he highly mentioned that he's got to find a steady rhythm. So if he can find that rhythm with his receivers, which he clearly did not have with the Texans, then I think he's going to be just fine. But the Jaguars are going to have to rely heavily on Lawrence going up. Now, here's the deal, though. Like we talked about earlier, though, Judy is out for the Broncos.
Yep.
So with that being said, that they are kind of limping over there in Denver a little bit, but they still have Melvin Gordon. And if you saw Melvin Gordon last week, he ran quite a bit last week. Old Melvin did. So they're going to have to put the pressure on Melvin running the ball. They're going to have to put the pressure on the pass defense. So they don't have their number one wideout in Judy. That means they can now turn their number one cornerback over to their number two guy. So they have the opportunity on defense to be able to take advantage of Jacksonville's weakness in terms of the passing game for their lack of wideouts, but they're going to have to turn up the volume on that run game because I have a feeling Denver's going to run the ball a lot against Jacksonville. And I have a feeling that they're going to pressure the crap out of Lawrence, and Lawrence is going to have to find that steady rhythm. He's going to have to be able to settle down, and he's going to have to make his reads. He's going to have to put the ball on the mark. That's the biggest knock on him right now is just making those reads. So we're going to make those reads, and then I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, let's not forget, Jay. It's going to be his second game, regular season game in the NFL. He's still got to work some of the bugs out. And, he's number one overall pick. Of course, he's going to have all of this, all eyes are on him each and every week. So last week, man, let's just face it, he got punched in the mouth by the Houston Texans. But it's not about how you start the season, Jay. I always say it's how you end it. There's a lot of football. There's an extra week now with the NFL. And I think that week one really kind of woke up Trevor because, let's face it, man, he barely lost throughout his entire football career. And then they came into the game last week against the Texans, which we're going to talk about more in another video here in a little bit. And they gave up a bunch of points. Trevor did decent. He put up a few touchdowns as well, but it just wasn't enough. So I think for the Jaguars, first you got to, go up Trevor, just say, all right, look, let's forget last week. It's a new day. What can you do against this Broncos defense who, like you said, Jay, they're going to be pretty tough. They got a good defense. And I was looking before we went on here, Ronald Darby's not going to be playing their cornerback, so he won't be there. So we'll see what they can do. But I do expect Trevor to feel some pressure this upcoming week against this Broncos team. But if you're the Jags, give Trevor some time. Let him find an open receiver. And, man, if it just means throwing some slants, getting them some short passes just to get a rhythm going, just go for it. Give him some screens. Get him anything along those lines that he can hit without going for the big shot, 50 yards downfield. because he can sling it, but you got to get him into a rhythm first, and that's what he kind of struggled with last week in his first game, is finding a consistent rhythm. I think for the Jags, give him some easy plays, get some easy targets, and then we'll see what they can do. But before we go to the Broncos side and how they are going to fare in this matchup, we have some exciting news. Our podcast is partnering with PlayActionPools.com this season to bring some interactive fun to the sport that we love the most. You're able to get in on the action with our PlayActionPools.com football pick'em challenge, which is open to everyone. Here's how it works, though. You sign up for the contest, Believe Football Pick'em, at PlayActionPools.com, and then get your picks in each week. We're going to select the 10 highest-profile games of the week between the NFL and college football, and whoever gets the most picks correct each week win a pair of electric sunglasses and a pair of DC shoes. Once again, go to PlayActionPools.com and sign up for the contest. Believe, that's BLEAV, Football Pick'em. And if you plan on hosting your own football contest, go to PlayActionPools.com today. They've got Survivor, Pick'em, as well as a cool sportsbook style concept called Build Your Bankroll. PlayActionPools.com, your new home for all your office sports pools. All right, Jay. We mentioned the Broncos. We mentioned that they have a tough defense. How can they pull out this win against the Jaguars?
Well, they're going to have to figure out, when you look at their wide receiver group now that you're taking Judy out of the mix, you got Hamler, Patrick, and Sutton. 3 wide receivers I don't have no idea about. So you're going to have to figure out between Larry, Curly, and Mo which one is the best. Who's going to step up and be the number one guy.
Right.
All right. Because now you know your number one guy's down. So they're going to have to figure out who that guy is. Like you said, they got Bridgewater, who, is an old school vet. He knows how to, with Carolina, what he did with Carolina, what he did with New Orleans. The guy knows how to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of a journeyman quarterback, but he knows how to play the game. And I think he's still in pretty nicely right now in with Denver. And if he can figure out who his new number one is going to be, then it could be very, very dangerous for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like I said, Melvin Gordon ran for 101 yards last week, man, and a touchdown. So the Denver has to keep pounding the rock, pound the rock, pound the rock, pound the rock. And then while they're pounding the rock, they got to figure out who their number one go-to guy is in the future and who their number 2 guy is going to be. And I think they're going to find that out relatively quick against Jacksonville. I don't think Jacksonville puts up too much of a fight on defense. I think Denver will have plenty enough time to figure out who the number 1 and number 2 guys are going to be. Yeah. If you look at their defense, I think Von Miller is just going to eat up Trevor Lawrence. I hate to say that, but I just feel like Von Miller is no joke. He's an experienced edge rusher. He knows what he's doing, and Jacksonville's beat up on that offensive line. And he's going to put a lot of pressure on Trevor Lawrence. And Trevor Lawrence is going to have the willpower to stay in the pocket and find his dives, make his reads. Don't telegraph your passes. And I think he'll be fine. But Von Miller is going to make it tough on him, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, if you're the Broncos, you have a good point, Jay. They are missing Jerry Jeudy this week, out for I'm not sure how long, but he did get hurt last week. I mean, that's your bread and butter right there. 6 to 8 weeks. It's going to be a while.
Yeah.
And like you said, what receiver is going to step up? Who's going to be that new number 1 target for the time being? You got Teddy Bridgewater, who, is a journeyman who's been in the league for a while now. He's shown he is more than capable of being a good quality quarterback. Looks like he's finally found, at least in the first week or so, that he's looking good in Denver. I'm happy for him. And if you're the Broncos, like I said, I think this is going to be more of a defensive win for the Broncos as opposed to the offense is going to light up the board. But the offense is going to be fine. I think you mentioned that the running game was looking on point last week. I think that success continues with them, Jay. I think they're going to have another 100-yard plus rushing day for this upcoming week. It's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be pretty close. Jay, do you have a final score between this Broncos and Jags?
Broncos and Jags. No Judy. I'm going to put it at 21-7.
21. Okay, only 7 going for the Jaguars. Yeah, I'm going to give them a little bit more love, I think. I think they're going to get a few touchdowns. They might get the defense slipping. I got the Broncos 28. I think that the running game is going to help them. They might get a pick 6 even. So I got Broncos 28, and I'll go Jaguars 14. So I think that just kind of some takeaways for the Broncos. They're going to keep their hot streak going. I don't know for how much longer, but for the Jaguars, let's face it, man. There was a reason that they were the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft last year. You know, just because you get the hotshot quarterback from Clemson, not everything's going to magically turn around year 1. Plus, with Urban Meyer, this is also his first ever NFL coaching gig, so let's not forget that either. He's still trying to figure all this out as well. But I think early on in the season, we'll see the Jaguars kind of stumble a little bit, trying to get their footing, with Trevor adjusting to the NFL, with Urban doing the same. But I think kind of midway around the season, Jay, they do have some good pieces on that team. There's no doubt that they could turn it around. I'm not thinking they're going to be, stars or anything, but I think they, at least for this week, they're still trying to find their footing in terms of how they're going to have this season play out. The Broncos are going to get the win in this one, like I said, but Jaguars, they're not going to just lay there and take it, man. They're going to at least put up a little bit of a fight, because after the loss last week for the Texans, that they're going to try and come out here to Denver and prove something and prove to the world that, hey, we're here. We're still going to be competitive. We might not get the win, but we are going to compete week in and week out. And that's really all you can ask for, man, at this point. But, hey, Jay, thank you, man, so much for coming on the show, talking some NFL game preview. It's always a pleasure having you come on and spew that knowledge, of course, with that fabulous beer, might I say. But be sure, hey, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We go live each and every week on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. Also, please check out our podcast if you haven't done so already. We're available anywhere you listen to podcasts: Spotify, Apple, iTunes, iHeartRadio, you name it. We are on there with daily episodes, whether it's, like I said, team previews we did before the season started. We covered pretty much every single team, it felt like. We have game previews each and every week, the hottest matchups, and so even some of the ones you might not even think about, we cover them. Also, we have great interviews with legends, guys who have won awards, won Super Bowls, et cetera, with our guy Bobby Butler. Some great history specials with our guy, Mr. Football Fitzturn, the football encyclopedia, we call him, because we just have all this great history from football that he brings each and every week, shine some more light on it. Of course, we have our amazing high school coach, Kevin the Bull Jones, who's doing some great work out there in North Atlanta. Our amazing other producer, Jeremiah Long, who's been doing some good work with us for a while, too. I've been your producer this evening, Logan Landers. You guys have a great day, and we will come back with another episode for you live in just a little bit. See you then.